Welcome to Where Business is Personal, the podcast of the Greater Union Township Chamber of Commerce. And I am so happy to be sitting here with the executive director himself, James Masterson. Yay!
Thank
Jim,
you.
thank you so much for joining us today. It's amazing to talk to you all the time. We have a pretty great relationship.
We do.
So
We do.
thank you for coming in and thank you for your support of the podcast. And how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. We are hopping. I remember in the old days of work, summertime was the time where things slowed down. That's not the case, at least with the chamber. But I find that with all members. We're busier than usual.
That's great.
Chamber's been growing, and we've been offering a number of new member benefits just in the last couple of months. So when you add a new benefit, you add a little work to it.
You had a little work. Well, you do a lot of work, Jim. We just had the 67th gala.
Yes.
That was amazing. And we raised a lot and we mingled and did a lot of networking. But I want to know more about you as a business professional. How did Jim Masterson become Jim Masterson, the executive director of the chamber, the president of the board at the YMCA? Ad list.
Okay, sure. You got 5 hours or so. I'll condense it, but basically, I always knew that communications and writing was my strength. Don't ask me to add 2 numbers. That's just not my
I'm
style.
with you.
And so I went into journalism as a major. I was a graduate of Rider University, then known as Rider College, and I went into healthcare. I had an internship at a local hospital there in the area, and that turned me on to public relations. So I used my writing skills to, boost the image of companies, and I went into hospitals. So my first job was at a hospital called Perth Amboy General, and I loved it there and had some great experience from the people there who taught me. And then a year and a half later, I applied for a job. Didn't think I'd get it, but I got it. And that was for Union Hospital in Union, New Jersey, I lived in Elizabeth at the time. That's where I was born and raised. And stayed there for 26 years, held a number of titles. At the end, I was 3 things. I was vice president of human resources, vice president of community and government relations, and president of the hospital foundation that did the fundraising. So it was through that whole community and fundraising side that I got to know the Chamber of Commerce. So in 1989, I became a member of the board of the chamber. In 1995 to 97, I was president of the board and remained very close to them. Unfortunately, in 2007, the hospital closed, and like many of the small hospitals did. And I had to reinvent myself, and I had the luxury of being able to take some time to do that, and really wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I was too young to retire. I still am. Look at me.
Yeah. I mean,
But anyway,
you got another 50 years. Jim.
I got another 50 somewhere. When you find it, let me know.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so during that period of time, I did some consulting work and some other things. And the chamber was also going through some changes. Their long-term CEO had passed, and then another person kind of came in for a little bit, but not too long. So they asked me to come in as a longtime former board member to help develop planning, to grow the board, grow the membership, find an executive director, those types of things.
Right.
And during one of those meetings, one of the members said very flippantly, "Well, you're not doing anything. Why don't you come run the place?" And I laughed. And
Wait, so you had 3 titles, but you weren't doing anything.
Well, that was after the hospital closed.
Okay, got you.
Yes.
Got you. Okay.
So I was not doing anything technically. So they said, you come run the place. And I said, maybe I will, but just for a little while. And that was 13 years ago.
Just a little while. Yes.
But I loved, always in my job at the hospital, was the community connections. I loved bringing people together. I loved being part of the lifeblood of the community. Just being where the action was. And I liked being able to have this one meet that one, get together, create a synergy that helped them both.
Right.
And that's what the chamber is. That's what a chamber is. So I've been doing that. And I started my job in 2011, and my first goal was to make sure that people knew we were still alive.
Right.
And the second was to increase the level of communication, which we did. And from then on, we went from when I came in, it was about 150 members. We now have about 420.
Wow. So you
So,
more than doubled. You've almost tripled since you started. What,
well,
13
there's that
years ago?
math again. All
Yeah,
right, if you say
me, you
so.
and I in our math situation.
But
I
yes,
I love talking to you and learning more about your approach to business because I identify with you. I see you as, oh, how do I do that? Because you're so good at connecting with people. You're so good about your memory is, oh my
thank you.
gosh,
Thank you, God.
amazing. Your memory is amazing, but just your way, you're very socially aware. Your emotional IQ is through the roof. So you're warm and inviting and knowledgeable. Is that a thing that you've always had?
um, in all modesty, I'm going to say yes. My strength when you know how throughout your career you take these IQ and psychological and emotional intelligence tests, and the one score that always came the highest was empathy.
Mm,
I do very much so put myself into the other person's shoes, so I can analyze in a way how they are feeling. So if they're not necessarily having a great day, it's not because they don't like the chamber or they don't like me, but something else is going on.
right,
How can I make that easier if possible? It could be stress about your business. It could be just you got some bad news, those types of things. So I try to go beyond just a business thing. So that's why I created the motto of the chamber where business is personal. Because when members join my chamber, they get in my head and
right,
they don't leave until I get accomplish what I want to with them to be able to have them feel when a year goes by that they made the right decision in joining
right.
and that they're going to renew their membership. So I've always been very aware of people's feelings. It hurts me when someone's hurt,
Right,
which is a good thing and a bad thing because sometimes it can be a burden because you start to carry other people's loads,
right.
which your shoulders are only so broad. But it's very helpful in that people do the kind words that you just said, where people recognize that I do authentically, genuinely care about their
Yeah,
well-being. Makes the chamber another place to come for not just business promotions, connections, leads, community contacts, but also maybe for a little TLC. And that's what we do.
absolutely. That's like that you encapsulated my feeling with you. So joining in 2020, meeting you, we worked together to create the video project of members who are in the
Yes.
directory. And it was a wonderful opportunity to see you in action with the members and to see something in life that for me, as far as a profession, I've been an actor and done the whole theater thing, but I look at what you're doing and I'm like, that is where I want to go with this in my hometown of Union County and Jersey.
Sure, sure.
So since I took us to Jersey, talk to me about your business in Jersey because where business is personal, you live here, you're from here, you do
Right.
business here. Talk to me about the importance of being in Union for you.
Sure. Um, it's funny because I tell people that I've never had a job that didn't have the word union in it. Um,
From Union Hospital.
Union Hospital, Union Chamber of Commerce, which now we're the Greater Union Township Chamber of Commerce, but Union Chamber of Commerce. And I also did work, I headed the foundation at Union County College in between the stints. So it's always been Union. I'm a Union County person. I was born and raised in Elizabeth, loved it there. Big city, but little communities. Um, then my wife and I saved up when you were able to do that and buy a house.
Mm,
So we moved to Cranford and we've been there for the past 40 years. But I've worked in Union and I know the town of Union better than I know any other town. I've come to love it very quickly. When I say come to love it, it's not just something that happened now. It's been a love affair that's gone back to 1980 when I first came into Union as an employee of the hospital. And there's a spirit here that I don't find in many other places that I hope to duplicate with some of our other communities and a lot of our other businesses. That spirit of volunteerism and caring.
Mm,
When you call out for help in this township, you get it. I
you
mean,
really
in
do.
droves, and you
You
get
really
it
do.
from all walks of life. So, whatever color you are, whatever spiritual background you are, whatever your orientation is, whatever your job is, whatever your income level is, you're helping people. And I find also that a lot of the people who have the least help the most.
Right.
And, think about when you go into some of the businesses in town for support, the local PTA, scholarship programs, tricky tray raffles.
Rotary.
Yeah, all those things.
Yeah.
Rarely did the businesses say no. So I want to make sure that when they come to me, I say yes,
Right.
because they're out there supporting our community in so many ways that people don't realize, and we need to give back. And that's the message: is give back to your own community and make sure the business is part of that. It's fun to shop online. It's fun. Well,
The
the
in
malls are
flux.
dwindling, yes, but it's so important to support your hometown. And maybe you spend a few extra dollars, or you may have to walk a little bit of a distance. But anywhere you want to go, I tell people you have to walk. If you're going to a concert, you're walking to that stadium. Don't tell me you're not. And
And it's a
so
far walk unless you can get that
much.
premium parking. Yes.
Exactly. You go to any major medical center in New Jersey, you're walking a hike to get to the main entrance to the hospital. So I think if you want to shop local and support our businesses, a block isn't too much to ask.
It's not.
There is space for people. We just have to make the effort. And Union is a walking town. It is another. It's a township made up of a lot of smaller communities, and it just makes it easy to support. My office is in the 5 Point section, and pretty much when I walk out my front door, I have everything I need right across the street.
That's how I feel here in the center.
Yeah.
Everything is right here. It's pockets of almost a little perfect, ecosystem business community where I get my supplies from across the street in that business, and then I order catering from this business.
Yep.
So it's a wonderful, you look at me, I'm talking about Union too, but that's kind of why we're
That's it. Yeah.
here, to do business here, to live here, to get to know the people here, the authenticity
Exactly.
is so clear with the chamber, but it's also really clear in the township from all levels. This is not a political podcast in any kind of way,
Right.
but the support is ground level up.
Very true. Very true. We have a very close relationship with our township administration, our elected officials on all levels. And when I pick up the phone to ask for help, they never hesitate to help me in any way that they can. And I hope they feel the same way about our chamber, because I make sure that I do the same. And now that we've grown, we've included now the towns of Kenilworth, Roselle Park, and Hillside have officially come under the Greater Union Township Chamber, which is
Yay!
why we added greater to the name. Um, Now that we've done that, I want to make sure that I develop those same close relationships with the local governing officials and the business communities of those towns. It's all very new, so we're working it through. But I'm excited. The towns are excited, and we're going to see some great things. We have gone from being kind of a small, nice place to do business to a regional
Powerhouse.
powerhouse
Yeah.
influence. I'll
I
say
would,
it.
yeah.
And
Own it. Own
I'm
it. You're
proud of it.
powerhouse.
I'm proud of it.
You've built an amazing thing here. So tell us, how do people get into the chamber?
There are many ways. I'll tell you, my preferred way is to set up an appointment to come meet me,
Okay.
because I like to go over our member benefits, which, by the way, we have
Amazing.
more than 50
What are your
member
top three
benefits.
favorites?
Ugh. Um, I'm going to say, well, our newest one is the podcast. So
The
that's
podcast is pretty
quickly
great.
becoming a favorite. With guests like me, how can you
How
go
could it
wrong?
not?
I like our newsletters very, very much.
Very much, yes.
And I like our networking events. So I'd say
Mhm.
those maybe were my top three. But there are so many side ones. We've just developed a job internship portal where people can either search for jobs and internships, or they can post jobs and
I
internships.
love that.
We have a scholarship program where this year, I'm sorry, we raised $8,000, and that came from
Wow.
the collective contributions of our members,
Right.
um, who came together saying, you know what, I can afford $100, but that doesn't even buy a textbook in today's economy. But their
Mm,
100 plus somebody else's 500 plus somebody else's 50, we gathered it together, and we're having a great photo coming tomorrow with the two students that we're helping.
that's wonderful.
We help two students every year. One is a business major that's going to a college or university. And the other scholarship that we give out is just to an individual going to a trade, vocational, culinary arts, fashion school, because while we need our accountants and our lawyers,
You need your artist
need our
too.
artists, need our
Woo!
plumbers, need our
Yeah.
electricians, because, you know, when your sink stops working,
Who you gonna call? Not me.
that's right. And not me either. So
And the
it's very
Ghostbusters are no good
important.
at that.
You go to a restaurant, you want the food to be great.
Right.
Those people don't just, pull out of a hat. They're trained.
And restaurants as well. One of the things that I've loved personally about the chamber directory is learning about new restaurants because
Mm,
at dinners get boring. So if you're
yes.
not in the mood to cook,
Yes.
I don't know of a better place to go on a food tour. And many of these restaurants I've learned about by going on the directory and saying, okay, let's try Peruvian food, or let's try
Right.
Italian from here, or let's try Ethiopian food from here. Is that a big draw for you too, to make sure that people in the restaurant business, in the wholesale business, the big stores that are also local to us are part of the chamber too?
Yes, and that presents its own challenges because restaurants in particular work when we meet.
Mm,
So they're not able to really come to the networking events. And I recognize that early on. That's why we offer more than 50 member benefits,
right.
because even if you can't come in person to establish relationships, I've got 49 other ways to help you establish that. An example was during COVID when everything shut down. I published a daily e newsletter to all members, letting them know of any changes with any business members, especially restaurants. Did they change their business model? Are they now doing takeout? Do they have outdoor dining? If there were grants, loans, we gave out um, information where people were able to apply. The Township of Union had received funding from the federal government and the state government and was able to help individual businesses with grants, not loans, but outright grants
Yeah.
to continue their businesses and kind of help carry them through. And it was through the chamber in part that we made that word get out. And a lot of our members took advantage of that. So we made sure that we took care of our members even during that period, and restaurants in particular, because they were very
They were
hard
hit hard.
hard
Yeah.
hit. I mean, think about it. You had liquor stores could be open, but the restaurants, you could drink but you couldn't eat. So
And
we
that's
had
what a lot of us did during the
yeah.
pandemic. I'm just
So we
saying.
had to we had to figure out, we got to help our restaurants. And we made the pledge very early on that we were not going to drop any member for non-payment of dues during COVID,
Right.
because this is the time they needed us the most. And I'm proud to say we did not lose one single member because of COVID.
And then you turn around mere few years later and you've more than almost tripled your membership. I just want to say I hope you understand how valuable and important the work that you do and the person that you are is to our township, that you are a beautiful example and role model to young folks and to people who are not so young. So, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for your time and coming in. If you had any words for, let's see, fledgling business owners beyond joining the chamber, what are some advice that you would offer?
I would say it's hard to separate the chamber from that because we do a lot of what I would suggest, but establish yourself in the community right away.
Mm,
You can't work in a vacuum, because if you do that, someone else is going to fill it.
right.
Number one, establish that you're a part of the community. Get out there and be seen. And I had a second point.
But I think you hit
Um,
it though, because to be seen, to have a business in a community and not be seen in the community and a part of it is it's actually meaning for me it wasn't as effective. My business wasn't as effective
right.
as it was once I joined the chamber, which I have to shout out my wife for. She was like, you better join the chamber, join the chamber. I was like, I'll get to it. She was like, no, do it now. game changer for our business. Absolute game changer. The relationships, the networking, you. But if you have a final word you want to say, and then I'll wrap us up.
Um, I guess I would say that if you haven't joined the chamber and you're a local business, and I can tell you that we have a number of categories of membership. I have citizens who don't own a business who are members.
Oh, wow.
These are people who maybe sold their business but still live in union and they've been a part of the chamber for years and they still want to be a part of that association and know what's happening in town.
Right.
So they join for their rate. Then we have home-based businesses, which I'm seeing more and more of. And that is a new and emerging, people working from their laptops. Could be IT consulting, it could be HR, could be bookkeeping. They're members. Then we have the typical brick and mortar, and what we do is we our dues are charged by size of the number of employees of each business. The reason that we do that is because when you join the chamber, all of your employees are considered members and can take advantage of our benefits.
Wow.
For example, we have a program with Kane University where you and your employees can take advantage of 10% off tuition
That's
at Kane.
huge.
And that's so you're a small business, you've got 5 employees, and you can offer a benefit like that. So thanks to the folks at Kane for presenting that to us, and
Absolutely.
we've had some good success stories from that. So it's really, get out there, get known, don't be shy, because if you haven't joined the chamber because you're afraid and don't know how to network, we'll show you.
We'll show
We'll
you.
show you. If you feel like you don't have the time, trust me, there are ways to do things around your schedule. And we're here for you. So come and feel the love.
Come and feel the love at the Greater Union Township Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much, Jim. It's been an honor and a pleasure always talking to you.
Absolutely,
And I
always.
look forward to more. All right.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on Where Business is Personal, the Greater Union Township Chamber of Commerce and Bradshaw Creative Studios, co production of this podcast. Have a great day.